Wright. I've been a designer for all my life. Essentially, I've been doing high-level work for when I was a very young age, but I would say I've been a designer for the last 10 years. Well, my career started really early. From a child, I had always been very fashionable, creating all kinds of different garments, always looking fly, and I really took it serious once I was in college. I started a small t-shirt brand, and from that t-shirt brand, I wanted to set myself apart as a designer. So I created a fashion label called Born Leaders United. And ever since then, I've been kind of on that trajectory with that brand, creating various capsule collections. And yeah, I'm just having a lot of fun and just being organic with it. Again, it was an opportunity for me to set myself apart, and I had an idea of I wanted to show my art off as a way of showing my art off. I felt like using a 3D space was something that would allow me to gain more notoriety as a brand owner. And what better way to showcase our brand by having people wear it, right? So taking things that I was creating in 2D on paper and then transferring that into actual shirts and garments really helped me project the way I want to be a fashion designer. I've worked on a number of different projects right now, promoting the Humanize My Hoodie movement, which is a project, capsule collection that I created to reverse the threat perception of black men when they wear hoodies. Very much so a social activist or fashion empowerment is kind of my staple right now.
The concept that we're doing, Man in the Box, is about a man in a box, like the characteristics that everybody say a man should be in. Then the stuff that's outside the box is what a man ain't.
I've been in New York Fashion Week a couple different times. I created a lot of local fashion shows. I mean, probably the right question to ask is like, what haven't you done as a fashion designer? I think now, when I first got into it, was a lot of fast fashion, more or less. Create something, multiply it, manufacture it, make a whole lot of them, and try to make a lot of money. But I think now, more so now, it's like more personalization, and that's what I got a lot of the students at City High doing, more personalized garments, creating things from scratch from their hands. I think there's a lot more value when it comes to garments when you can create things just from scratch and from hand. Creativity, no boundaries, being authentic, being myself, not being mimicked, and the opportunity to take something that might be a problem and correct it by using fashion as a way to do that. So one day last year I walked into John's office, and I told him that I would come into City High and just teach some kids fashion design for 12 weeks. And he was like, okay, we got a trimester where you can come in and do that. And I did that, and they got 5 credit hours for doing that. And it was so much fun. A lot of the girls learned a lot from the classes and the stuff that I taught, the principles that can take them on throughout life. Then I was like, hey, let's do it again this year. So I came back this year to do it again. This year I wanted to do more like a hands-on club type thing, where we get the groups together and they can actually create the garments. A lot of the stuff I did last year was me creating the garments, but me doing a lot of teaching moments. I think the main thing is that with a lot of belief, you can do anything you want to. I think that's the objective. And just using fashion as a way to be able to do that and say that, because the perception is probably that there's 90 designers from Iowa, but that's not true. There is. You're sitting in front of one right now, and that if you really want to pursue something, you got to do a lot of hard work to get to it, but it's very possible, and that you should always be creating, you should always be dreaming, you should always be trying to push yourself to the next thing. So, I hope to achieve an opportunity for students to understand that there are opportunities in textiles and fashion, that there are people here that care about education, that care about fashion as an industry. There's a lot of support from a lot of different people, and I want them to have fun. Know that it's fun. It's not so much a curriculum, but it's something that they can enjoy doing. Morale, being happy, I think that's a skill that can't really be taught, but just being supportive, working as a team. Um, we'll do a lot of stuff when it comes to the show, like from a project management standpoint, just making sure everybody understands their role. Uh, yeah, just soft skills, I would say. It's robust right now. We got a whole bunch of people here. I don't even think none of them even know each other. Some of them, I mean, and they go to the same school, which I find very interesting. That sometimes you don't know some of the people, or your colleagues, or your peers, or the people next to you, but you go to school with them every day, but you don't even get a chance to interact with them. So I'm hoping that a lot of synergy can be created, a lot of energy, a lot of fun, and then we can put on a really awesome fashion production that they're going to lead. I think you can find inspiration anywhere. Sometimes you just gotta open your eyes. Me personally, I find inspiration from a number of things. Sometimes from silence, just being silent. I find inspiration just because my life's so busy. Being able to just take an hour out of my day just to breathe sometimes is just super important to me. Um, Walking down the street, walking my dog. Sometimes playing basketball with my son, I might find some inspiration. Uh, Various things. There's no one thing that probably I draw inspiration. I draw inspiration from many, many things. Discourage never. I think all design is valid. I meaning that there's no mistakes. No mistakes, right? I think when you're being a creative, I think you can create anything, and it's your interpretation of that. And so, being able to do that in a way that people can understand and make their own interpretation from it, I think I would never tell someone, oh, that doesn't look right. Well, that's their interpretation of that, right? So um, I'm one of those optimistic people, and I'm a big believer in just, cheerleading. And let's go. Let's make sure this is happening. Are you having fun? If you're not having fun, then this probably isn't the right thing for you. But let's try to make sure that you're having fun. That sort of thing. That's just good spirit, being optimistic. Come with a lot of energy. Try to have a story up front because essentially what you're doing with fashion is telling a story. So make sure your story is authentic. Don't lie to people. But tell a true story about who you are and what you are. Don't be afraid to show your true meaning.